Hi honey, how are you? Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, I'm Teknikolour. Today, I'm sharing the Tartosa home I built for my Generation 9 sim in my legacy save. Before we start though, I do a lot of building in The Sims 4 here on YouTube, so if that sounds fun and you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you'd like to help support my content in a big way, you could use my EA creator code, Teknikolour, at checkout on the EA app when grabbing Sims packs, or even other EA games like Apex Legends or Dragon Age. There's currently a big summer sale happening on the EA app through August 11th, and they've increased my commission from 5% to 7%. Unfortunately, it's not a discount code, but it is a really nice way to support my content. The build I'm working on here is in the Porto Luminoso neighborhood of Tartosa, which is the Mediterranean-inspired world that comes with the My Wedding Stories game pack for The Sims 4. This pack is interesting. Tartosa itself is absolutely stunning, and is basically the world for weddings in the game. But unless you're new to The Sims 4, you are very aware that My Wedding Stories is a flawed pack. Granted, last summer they released a patch to improve the improvements to weddings that this game pack was supposed to bring, and it did help a fair amount, to be fair. But weddings in The Sims 4 are still an interesting event to attempt. All of this makes Generation 9 of my Around the World's Legacy challenge even more entertaining, because our current heir, Caspian Wyndham, will have his reign be focused all around the My Wedding Stories pack. While I'm mostly a builder, I do enjoy gameplay. I play this Legacy challenge every Thursday over on my Twitch channel, but I'm not as familiar with all of the packs and their gameplay features, since I only started playing this game 3 years ago. By having each generation of this Legacy challenge be focused around a different pack, it's already helped me learn so much about packs like Growing Together, Discover University, Realm of Magic, and more. This generation is a bit funny though, because our sim is leaving his beachy home of Sulani for the beautiful coastal world of Tartosa. And he's a serial romantic, a merman, will need to have at least one child, and during his reign of the wedding pack, he, in fact, does not need to get married. If you're watching this video on the day I uploaded it, congratulations! You are just in time to watch us move Caspian out of his parents' house and into this one in Tartosa tomorrow. Again, I'll be playing with Caspian every Thursday over on my Twitch channel. No pressure if that's not your thing. But if this story interests you, I've dropped the link in the description. I think starting his reign off during the summer is going to be a ton of fun, and a cheeky little nod to my personal favorite summer reality show, Big Brother. So, as they say over there, expect the unexpected. Actually, I should also let you know, this weekend, on Saturday, August 9th, I'm going to be celebrating my 5th anniversary of streaming on Twitch with a huge stream that has the potential to go on for 12 whole hours. If you're a fan of The Sims 4, you might want to consider dropping in, simply because I will be doing custom room builds, giveaways, and even have a way to have you be a part of my legacy save file. Again, link will be in the description, but for right now, I promise I'll stop plugging my own content and talk a bit more about our build here. I decided to use a blend of different packs to achieve the Italian villa-inspired look I was going for with this build's exterior. So you'll see a lot of Riviera Retreat, For Rent, Love Struck, and of course, My Wedding Stories. To be honest, this build uses a ton of packs, but since it's for my personal legacy save, I think that's okay. Actually, it's pretty funny because you'll likely be able to tell when during this speed build, I save the version that Caspian can actually afford, around 56k simoleons if you're interested, before I continue with the rest of the build, which hopefully he'll be able to afford at some point. I don't even know what his career will be yet. And this generation actually has a rule where you aren't allowed to do a career you've tried previously in the challenge. With 8 complete generations under our belt, that's actually a fair amount of careers that are just not available to us now. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments. When it came to the interior, I actually started working on the kitchen first, but I cut that out of the video because it wasn't working. And I spent a lot of time on it before just deciding to use this space as a living room. I'm not sure it was the best choice for this build, but something was drawing me to the TV that we got in the Casanova Cave kit. I don't always love just how modern it looks with the backplate behind the TV and the speaker system or whatever underneath it. So I have been known to just scoot the TV itself into the wall until the backplate isn't visible anymore. Just doing that can change the entire look of the item, in my opinion, and it helps to make it feel more in line with the rest of the room's furniture. Another odd choice I may have made was to use the couch from Enchanted by Nature. Not everything in that pack necessarily has to scream fairy, though a large amount of the build buy from that pack obviously is fairy themed. I used the Parenthood coffee table and Lovestruck armchairs to try to bring it all together. So there's a bit of lighter wood and darker wood, which I sort of weave throughout the entire build. If you happen to look at the feet of the couch, there's also a bright green wood going on, but I simply request you don't look at that part. Forget about it. See? Now everything matches. Isn't that great? After that, I move to the back room, past the living room for our kitchen. I knew that I had a plan for a very Italian farmhouse kind of look I wanted to achieve. Thinking about it now, I was really unsure of what cabinets to use because I felt like none of them would really fit what I was envisioning. And I even briefly considered using the Home Chef Hustle cabinets. Could you imagine? Once I stumbled upon the Country Kitchen Kits cabinets that had this green swatch, I knew that these were the ones for Caspian. The only thing I didn't love was the yellow curtains on some of the cabinet pieces. But I remember that I've been wanting to use that new portable island item from the Kitchen Clutter Kit, which has a yellow swatch. So I used that to try to tie it all together. The real star of the kitchen, though, is the range hood, which in this case isn't actually a range hood at all. Lovestruck gave us this ornate topper item, which I think is meant to be used above a door or window or something, but I have wanted to use it as a range hood for so long because it looks perfect for it to me. Am I alone in this? Let me know what you think in the comments, please. I need to know that I'm not alone here. The space I made for this kitchen ended up being slightly smaller than I had anticipated, so I ended up making the room a little larger because I wanted to include a dining table. Oddly enough, I end up using one of the new doors from Businesses and Hobbies because I'm obsessed with the doors from that pack. Even though it's definitely more modern because I feel like this room needed some balance to offset the country feel of it. I also wanted an outdoor dining area, so I added the pergola from My Wedding Stories and the new craftable table we received from the Nature's Calling event underneath, which let me get distracted and start focusing on the backyard, where I included a pool and similar decor items. Luckily, that spiraled into me becoming more confident in the windows I had chosen in the front, so I finished laying out windows throughout the build. Then I started working on the floors, and I am really happy with my choices for the floors in this one because I don't typically embrace tile and just go straight for hardwood flooring. I've used the Lovestruck tile before in a build or two, but it truly shines here, in my opinion. My boyfriend had wanted to see the build so far around this point, and he gave me a fantastic suggestion for underneath the dining table. Instead of using an area rug or keeping the tile plain, I did one of the decorative tile swatches from Lovestruck and then added the small fencing from Get to Work as a border. I added a little office space to the stairwell, hallway area, which, fun fact, was originally going to be the entrance to the home before I decided to turn everything on its head, apparently. Yeah, the current entrance, that was going to be a little breakfast nook. I think what we have now works so much nicer, though. This should be around the point when I start working on Kaz's bedroom and add in a fireplace that I think fits well with the wall from Riviera Retreat. This kickstarted something in my brain though. So we abruptly moved back downstairs to the kitchen and started on that back wall where the cabinets are. I used the same wall from Riviera Retreat, but you know those backsplash tiles that we received in the Love Struck pack? I found a cute green and blue swatch that has axolotls on it, and then decided to frame a floor-to-ceiling backsplash behind the oven. While I really did like that axolotl swatch, I switched it out for a more dynamic swatch that is also more colorful, while still maintaining the palette for this room and build as a whole. I think this might be the first time I've ever used these backsplash items for a kitchen backsplash. And I'm thrilled with how this whole room has turned out. Back in the living room, I knew I needed to add some lighting, but I couldn't decide between overhead lighting or a ceiling fan. The ceiling fan won out in the end, and I think it was the best choice. It allows this room to only get the daylight from whatever windows decide to let the light pour in. And by having more minimal lights in the room, it makes this room feel more cozy and brings the focus to the center of the room. I also ended up using a rug that I don't think I've ever used before, which I think might be from For Rent. I feel like I keep using the same items over and over again in every build, so I wanted to make it a point to start branching out here and there. Up until this point of the build, I did not know what to do with the foundation. Originally, this was going to have kind of split levels using platforms and staircases, but I think if I'm being honest, I just didn't have the energy or brain power. I did end up increasing the foundation size slightly and adding stairs and a porch to the entry. And even though it's not what I had envisioned for this build in the beginning, I'm really happy with it. Oh, you might also notice something a little strange while I'm working in the office area where the stairs are. Yep. I do add a pet door directly to the underside of the stairs and hide the laser eyes kitty litter box there. I found out that this was possible when I adopted my very first cat in this legacy challenge, way back on Generation 4, cats and dogs, obviously. There's something you might not be expecting. Both that cat and that Generation Sim are both still alive and well in my save file. My Twitch chat practically demanded that we adopt this stray cat that was not nearly as cute as I was hoping for, because it was always roaming around our house in Brindleton Bay. Mostly, I think because her name is Pickles, and well, actually, I think that's really all you need to know. Her name is Pickles. Pickles the cat. That's why we adopted her. I was also not expecting that my Twitch chat would fall absolutely in love with Pickles the cat. And so much so that I didn't think we would be able to continue playing through the Legacy Challenge if the time came that she would leave us. And so it hasn't. We literally just wait until she's on her last day or so of being an elder cat and age her right back down to a kitten. She's Pickles the Immortal Cat, and she has lived with each generation since Gen 4. Pickles is the legacy, and she probably thinks all this just revolves around her, which, fair, honestly. Pickles' original owner, though, the great Luella Wyndham, is my Generation 4 sim, and I ended up falling for her. Since her son's reign revolved around Realm of Magic, he used his magical powers to gift her immortality. Lou, as I like to call her, uses her immortality to help her family. When her son died, she and her son-in-law helped purchase a penthouse in San Myshuno to help her granddaughter with her son. Then, when that kid grew up to be a complete schmuck and let fame and lose money get to his head, she helped guide his son and his burgeoning family without her pocketbook. She even ended up taking in her granddaughter's jerk kid towards the end of his life, when literally everyone but Luella hated him. There's actually a little synopsis for Generation 9 that I can read you. You love your home on Sulani, but want to spread your fins some. You move to the equally beautiful Tartosa to start the next phase of your life. Even though it is a coastal town, mermaids are not as common as they were back on Sulani. How will you acclimate to this new town? You have your good looks, but will everyone react the same when they find out that you are a mermaid? Only time will tell for this old tale. What you might not know, though, is that Caspian is a triplet. His father, our former heir's husband, was born a merman, and he passed that on to Caspian, but not his siblings. He's actually the oldest of the 3 siblings. Calypso is the middle child, and he both idolizes and envies his older sibling, especially because the whole merman thing, while Coral is the youngest, and she probably is the most confident and independent of them all. If you've been following the channel for a bit, you've already seen me build Coral's house, an old and large Victorian-style home in Ravenwood. Unfortunately, while Caspian and Coral's homes are built, I still have yet to build something for Calypso. I'm honestly not quite sure what to do with him. I'm leaning towards having him stay in Sulani and giving him his own lot there, but I'm not fully decided yet. I was considering having him follow Caspian to Tartosa, but I'm not sure that he should do that anymore. Caspian, though, I think has a bit of his parents, August and Fred Wyndham, Luella, and to be honest, a little bit of Jet Wyndham in him. Jet was the famous schmuck that August went no contact with when he moved out on his own. Not so much that Kaz is going to be evil or a bad sim, but he is definitely going to be a heartbreaker. I think it's going to be a bit before and if we decide to have him settle down. So it's going to be interesting figuring out when and who he has a child with. And of course, y'all know me. I went ham with the kitchen clutter kit here. Honestly, I think it's that damn hanging fruit basket item. I have something just like that in my house in Palia, and it's just perfect and needs to be in every single kitchen. So I do. I put it in every single kitchen. I'm not sorry. This kit, I swear, is one of the best clutter kits that's been added to the game because it really helps add that lived-in feeling to a build. I think it can be kind of difficult to add clutter to a build, especially if you're working with a smaller budget, but having a kit like this really makes a difference if you struggle with kitchen clutter or just aren't as happy with the items you already have access to. I feel like I can confidently recommend kitchen clutter if you're in the market for a kit over a lot of other options. I might have even gone a bit overboard with the cluttering in this room, adding in a wall phone, who uses that anymore, and some frame art of apples. I don't know, but I think this room really ended up being the heart of this build, which was my intention from the start. I also took the opportunity to make sure I had some nods to Kaz's roots in Sulani, with a few decorative items from the Island Living pack. I think he really appreciates his home world and the beach, and especially being a merman, but he felt the need to go out on his own and discover where and who he's truly meant to be. The more I talk and think about this generation, the more excited I get, because it seems like we're getting an opportunity to go against the grain from the rest of the legacy, while still focusing on family and love. It honestly feels like this past generation and this one are forcing us to go back to our basics of the legacy and rebuild the family name after Jet the Schmuck tried to destroy it. That first floor bedroom is also very different from what it will end up looking like because it's probably going to be the baby's room. I'd like to move Caspian's parents in at some point, which I usually do in each generation unless the rules don't allow it. But the way I built this, it feels like there isn't really a place for their room. I might have them move in with the youngest triplet, Coral, since I did kind of build a guest room for the parents in her house, come to think of it. After this bedroom, we move back outside to the front porch, and I add a few plants and seating to make this feel a bit more inviting and almost like it's another backyard in a way. I think for Caspian, he's going to be very extroverted and host lots of gatherings. Tartosa is going to be a very open and friendly community atmosphere, I'm expecting. So he'll also be super neighborly and outdoors a fair amount, I think. I also spend a bit of time here working on more of the backyard to use more decor and make it feel more lived in than the affordable version. I then added a bit more to Kaz's room with a little seating area, a dresser, and some accent tables. I spent a lot more time on this seating area than you might be expecting. Obviously, I shifted around the room a bit, but it really took me an embarrassing amount of time to really pull this spot together and make it feel like it's still part of the room. Adding curtains here and throughout the build itself felt like such a daunting task for me, and that's why I left it until the end. I also took a lot of time working on this, which you might not expect because I wanted the majority of the house to soak in natural light, but still have some sort of privacy. For instance, this might be one of the first builds I've done with a lot of open air windows instead of just glass windows. That was a decision I had made even before I got to work on this build, because it just felt Italian and inviting to me. I know Tartosa isn't representative of any one individual real-world place. It's more of a combination of different real-world places as inspiration. But I'm Italian, so this world skews more Italian for me. I know. Right now, you've switched your gaze from the build to my camera with a hilariously perplexed look on your face. This pale as heck man is Italian? Like 1%? I know, I'm like a vampire. I just barely let the sunlight grace my skin. Oddly enough though, a couple of gens from now, we will be focused on the vampire pack. We also added a foosball table to this second floor flex space. This could always end up being another bedroom for a kid. I just wasn't entirely sure how to lay it out as such. Well, at least this early in the game. Afterwards, we move on to the exterior for the landscaping, which if you've been following, you know is the part of the building process that I am the least comfortable with. I just don't know if I know how to make it look realistic enough. Plus, in this case, I really didn't leave myself with much room to do landscaping other than in the front. I did add some and tried to make it feel slightly overgrown in places too, so it would feel as if there was more landscaping than there actually was. I don't know. Again, share your landscaping tips in the comments, please. But we're honestly at the end of the speed build right now, so why don't I hop into the game and give you a little bit of a tour. So here we are on the Villa Vigna lot in Tartosa, and this is Caspian's fully finished build. You can see we've got the backyard, we've got this front porch, but going all the way down into the house itself, you can see here is the foyer. You enter in here, and then right on the left, you have the living room with this huge TV. Through these archways, you have this massive kitchen and dining area. And you can go out here into the backyard where, of course, we have some other dining and we have a barbecue. On the right through the entrance, you have that stairwell or little office space. And then on the right over here, you have a little bathroom. And I am so pleased with how I decorated this with the sleek bathroom kit. Like, look at this with the soap on the barrel. And then right behind that bathroom is this little guest bedroom. Heading upstairs, you can see that we've got this little flex space, which again, might turn into a kid's room. I'm not entirely sure. But you go through this door and this is Caspian's bedroom. And of course, he doesn't have a partner yet. He's going to spend some time finding one. But he does have this very big bathroom of his own. And of course, there is a little dual shower moment here with a nice window that just overlooks everything. And then you have the toilet room in here. But I am so excited to play here because this lot is just, I think, one of the best in Tartosa. And I just honestly can't wait to start. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to download this fully furnished build off the gallery, you can find it using my EA account ID, Teknikolour. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss out on future videos. Plus, don't forget to use my creator code, Teknikolour, if you're planning on grabbing my wedding stories or any other Sims packs in this summer sale. While it unfortunately isn't a discount code, it does help take a small portion of your sale out of EA's pockets and helps to support my channel so I can keep making content like this full time. I have to go get back to work preparing for my big anniversary stream now though. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.